Lobs a throw for Gronkowski, left side, makes the catch over 2 defenders.
One of my favorite catches was versus the Buffalo Bills. Didn't even use my second hand, brought it in, toe tapped into the end zone. It was one of my favorite catches.
Yo soy fiesta.
He's got a little jiggle wiggle in the hip skill.
But hey, that's football, and you got to be a tough SOB.
It's another edition of Pats from the Past, and we're pleased to be joined by the best tight end in franchise history. Paul, is it the best tight end in NFL history?
We're going to get to that later. I'm going to get that out of him
here,
later.
Paul Perillo here. He's number 87 on your scorecard, but number 1 in everybody's hearts, Rob Gronkowski.
Wow, what an introduction, guys. I appreciate that love.
Thank you for
and
joining us.
I played
really
for the number
it.
1 organization of all times as well, so it was a great matchup to have the number 1 tight end playing for the number 1 organization,
That's awesome.
Baby. That's what's up.
I tell you what, nobody's seen much of you. Like, are you in hiding or anything like that? Nobody's seen you at all. Like, are you a monk or are you like in a cave?
You don't do any commercials or anything?
Are you having fun, dude?
Actually, I am in hiding this week. It's Thanksgiving week. It's a holiday, so I have off, for about 6 days. And you guys actually got me out of hibernation to come here. But
Thank you.
That's okay because it was about 3 minutes, from the house, So when it's that close and it's that easy, I can always come out of the ground and come and say what's up. And you guys, have been great. And, my career started here. Without being drafted here, to this organization here in this building, I wouldn't be on these commercials that you guys see me on all the time. So appreciate you guys having me here today.
Do you like chopping it up with the Fox guys? Are you having fun doing that?
I'm having a lot of fun doing that. I'm having a lot of fun doing everything that I'm doing, especially the commercials. I know that's what you guys were talking about a little bit
Well, but that
before.
and Fox. I mean, Sam Shepard, he's your new bestie.
Yes, and it's unbelievable over there. And these guys are such pros. It's kind of like me entering the room with, like, when I was a rookie, like how I entered the room, with Vince Wilfork, Tom Brady, all those guys, as a rookie. It's like when I enter the room, at the Fox room, and I got Michael Strahan, I got Jimmy Johnson, I got Terry Bradshaw, Kurt Menefee, Howie Long. Like, it's kind of like a similar situation. I'm a rookie, but like these guys have been on TV now for 25, 30 years plus. Michael Strahan's the youngest one out of the whole group, and he's been, I think, around 15 years on the show. And then there I am as a first year, second year, third year guy now, and I was just looking up to them every single day. Like, they're so on point. They're incredible with their knowledge. They know when to spit out facts and when to joke around. So just learning from them and just going under their wing, man, it was something special, and it still is special, and it's so much fun just working with them every Sunday that I'm on.
Yeah, good place to start. You talked about being drafted here. You talked about being a rookie in TV. What was it like? Go back to Arizona, and you're coming out. Did you know the Patriots were heavily interested, and what was that process like?
All right, man, let's go back to this process. I like that. And, yes, I knew the Patriots were definitely heavily interested, that's for sure. But I had one of the worst draft visits of all time, and Coach Belichick talked about that before. I mean, Nancy, is she still here as well?
She is.
Yeah.
She still talks about it, that I fell asleep right on her desk right before I was going to go meet all the coaches. But to be fair, that was like my 17th trip in like 15 days, and I was super tired. And I had to get a nap in real quick so I was sharp and on point, which that's what happened. But actually, that's not what happened, because I really wasn't that sharp and on point, and then everything else was just chaos that trip. So I actually walked out of this building after that rookie, that kind of like a job interview it was before you get drafted. You go and see all the teams and talk to them. I kind of walked out of the building like, this team is either going to love me and they're going to take me, or they just think I'm a complete fool and they already crossed me off their board. But I was in the back of my mind, I was like, I have a feeling that they love me. But so back to, going to Arizona and draft night and all that. So I wanted to go to the Arizona Cardinals, actually. They were the number 26 pick, because the reason was I loved my time at the University of Arizona. I was in Tucson. I was a Wildcat. The Arizona Cardinals were an hour and a half away in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, and just the state as a whole. Loved being there, loved that area as well. So I wanted to go there just because I knew how familiar I was with it and how much I loved being there. And then in the back of my mind, I thought it'd be kind of cool if the Bills drafted me because it was my hometown team. But at the same time, I kind of didn't want to go to Buffalo too, just because they weren't.
Pressure?
Yeah, the pressure.
Or they stunk.
Yeah, they stunk at the time. Just all that. I felt like just best for my career to just not go back home. Even though it would be a dream to go play there. Like when you were growing up, that was the dream. And then the other team was the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
You know, they showed high interest in me throughout the whole process. I had plenty of interviews with them. You know, I truly believed that they were going to take me, and they were about to take me.
You know, like, you were having fun in New York, and we'll get to that in a second. You know, it was a scramble drill of epic proportions here for the Patriots to get your card in. Like, Bill's looking around going, John Robinson is running around the room. Nick's running around the room. The clock's ticking down. They were sweating that out. Do you know that it was sort of chaotic by their standards here? Did you know that was going on?
Actually, that's something new that I've just learned, man. I didn't know how chaotic it was trying to get that in, but I know
they were hustling, dude.
That's pretty wild to hear that side of it, because actually thinking about it, because at the last second, because the Baltimore Ravens were on the clock with the 42nd pick. And that's like I said, they were showing high interest. I thought for sure I was going to the Baltimore Ravens, and the clock is, you know, counting down, and there's like 30 seconds left. And usually if a trade happens, it's usually in by now.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden there's like 10 seconds left on the clock, whatever, and boom, the New England Patriots trade up, you know, with to the 42nd pick, because the Baltimore Ravens had the 43rd pick. That's how it was going down. They traded up with the I think the Oakland Raiders at that time. So the Raiders traded down. The Patriots got the 42nd pick and took me. And I thought the whole time, like, all right, I got Baltimore coming up. I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to go. But now that makes sense. They were scrambling, and that's why I went down to the last seconds, because they were trying to get it in and get that, you know, trade in, which they did. And I'm very, very thankful they got that trade in. So whoever's, you know, duties that was, and whoever accomplished to get that in, whoever hustled, who was it?
It was all of them. It was Bill, John Robinson, Nick. I mean, Jimmy D's in New York, I think, at the time, so they're yelling at Jimmy to get the card in, you know.
Well, I just want to thank you, Jimmy D, for getting that card in on time, man. The rest is history from there.
Did you think you were at risk? Other people thought you were at risk. Were you confident that everything was going to be all right? Like, by all accounts, you never should have lasted until the second round, but people were worried about your back.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I mean, my back was a little damaged coming out of college, that's for sure. I mean, I had some serious back problems. I mean, they were serious, but they were kind of minor at the same time, actually. But all back problems are serious when you got pain shooting down your legs and you can't really move that much. But it was just a minor procedure where they take the herniated disc, they just chop it off a little bit and get it off your spinal cord.
Minor procedure, man.
And the good thing was I'm young, so you heal quickly as well. And no, there's more major back surgeries when you fuse the spine together.
How many have you had?
And all that. So I've had 3 microdiscectomies, and I've been good since. I had my last one. Actually, that was my last surgery, which was here.
16, right?
Yeah, I think it was 2016. You're right.
You missed the Super Bowl against.
That's why I missed the Super Bowl versus Atlanta Falcons. But I also absolutely got level going up the seam. Earl Thomas, one of the hardest hitting safeties in the game, and I was looking at the ball, and boom, he hit me going full speed and popped my disc out. I mean, it was a football injury. You can't do nothing about it.
Yep.
I actually made a nice play after that and caught the ball to the 2-yard line on a fade, even though my back was blowing out and I was spitting blood out because I also punctured my lung on that hit as well. But hey, that's football, and you got to be a tough SOB, and that's what gets you, you know, the wins and gets you far if you can take the pain, and I sure was. But we're going back. Was I at risk? Kind of, but in my mind, I wasn't, because I knew my mindset. I knew I was going to overcome the injury, you know, that I had in college. I knew I wanted to be a professional football player as well, so I wasn't going to let anything get in my way. So when I was asked that question in the job interviews and everything, I strongly, with confidence, told them, hey, I'm not worried about my back. I want to be a tight end in the National Football League. I want to be one of the best tight ends as well in the National Football League, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, you know, for my back to be solidified to where I need it to be throughout my whole career. Yeah, there's going to be ups and downs with the back, you know, but I always knew that if I stayed on top of it as well with the rehab, you know, doing the core exercises, doing the right back exercises, that, you know, my career will, you know, be a decently long career. So I made sure, you know, to some of the teams that I wanted to go to, hey, I'm ready to play. My back is not a problem. But the reason why it was kind of a problem is they were saying I had scoliosis, and I didn't even know what scoliosis was, because you get the MRI at the combine, so all the team doctors can check out your back. So whatever I have, I mean, I beat it. So scoliosis, screw you.
So you tell the story about the draft visit when you fell asleep. You also have a story about right after you got drafted. It didn't take you long to sort of get called into the principal's office, right?
No, it didn't. I mean, I've always, was a maniac, especially when I was a young buck, and I like to have a good time. That's for sure.
What a moment that was, though, Rob. Jesus, you're with your brothers for crying out loud.
I'm telling you, it was one of the best moments
of
my life, guys. And what's great about it is I was pissed I didn't go in the first round, My mom's like, I never really seen you pissed before. And, like, my brother made a comment, like, that I didn't go in the first round. I was like, shut up, I was just pissed. Like, and I should have never even said shut up. I was just over-exaggerating. When you're mad, everything's going to make you, is going to make you mad. You're going to be pissed off. And rightfully so, because I thought I was a first rounder, in my mind, I wanted to be a first rounder.
Clearly you were.
Right.
Yeah. But in the end, let me tell you, it truly doesn't matter where you're drafted. It matters what you do after you're drafted. And once you get the shot, it's all about what you do with the opportunity that you get. There's no doubt about it. So the second day comes, and once I get drafted by the New England Patriots, let me tell you, that was the best moment and best feeling of my life right there and then. And I absolutely gave no cares, no shizzle that I didn't go in the first round. My dream was accomplished, and that's all that mattered. And I never thought about being bad ever again in my life that I didn't go in the first round.
But did it get under your skin when Bears called and said, hey, cut it out?
Actually, he didn't really get under my skin. We kind of played it up and we were laughing at it because I was always a troublemaker growing up, so it was always funny when I got in trouble. It eventually became like, oh, Rob's in trouble again, haha, because it was always for something that was silly.
Right.
I never was getting in, serious trouble.
Right.
I was a guy that just took it to the edge, and then I would stop. Right before I would fall over the cliff, I would catch myself, and then I would wind back down, and it would drive people crazy. And it kind of was that situation. I was up on stage, putting the helmet on, going one-on-one versus my brother because he was in the NFL at the time. He put the Detroit Lions helmet on. We were jumping up, down, who, which we loved to do. I mean, that's how we partied. We always were jumping up and down, acting like maniacs. So we brought the party to the stage. And Bears gave me that call, hey, get off the stage. This is what we're not about. And then I literally put the phone down, and I was like, I'm already getting in trouble. This is great. Who.
That's awesome.
So it just never stopped me because I knew I was never doing anything wrong.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to joke all the time, Matt, we're in there all the time. We go in and cover these guys, and we used to always talk, all the media guys. That kid has never had a bad day in his life. And I think that obviously you're exactly the same. Just how much fun, and you enjoyed it. You enjoyed everything about football, and it was so obvious. When did you sort of figure out this is what you were going to do and that you could dominate doing this?
Well, when I was in high school, I actually just went into the Buffalo Hall of Fame 2 weeks
Congratulations,
ago.
I saw that.
Thank you, guys.
Great pictures.
Vic Carucci, too, right?
Yeah, with Vic Carucci.
Your boy Vic.
Which... Actually, all right, there you go. That's a full circle moment right there with that question that you just asked, and then you just brought up Vic Carucci. So in 8th grade, Vic Carucci has a daughter that's my age, and all of our friends hung out, and she invited us over one day, and I walked in the front door, and there's Vic Carucci was right there, standing right in front of me, and I knew he was an NFL beat writer or senior writer or whatever his title was at that moment. I looked him straight in the eye, and I said, "Hey, Vic, you're going to be writing about me one day, I guarantee it." And I was in 8th grade, and he was like, "Yeah, right, kid," And then, but in his
Get away
mind,
from my daughter.
He's like, "Maybe, yeah." He's like, "You're crazy." And I was like, "No, you're going to be writing about me, I guarantee it." So it kind of started all the way back then, man. I've been manifesting that I was going to go pro in the NFL for basically my whole entire life, even though I didn't even start playing football until I was in 7th grade. Actually, I broke my ankle my very first play in 7th grade and didn't even really start in 8th grade then. So I was telling him before I even had a football career, I was going to make it to the NFL and he'll be writing about me. So then, we'll go back again as well. Then sophomore year in high school, I really, totally started understanding my size and my abilities. And and where I was in life with my athletic career. I loved playing all the other sports, but that's when I really knew that football was going to be my sport, when I was on the varsity team, and I was absolutely dominating games, and I was just a sophomore in high school. So then, you know, you're in English class, you're in other classes. It's like, hey, write about what you want to do in the future. And I just always wrote about, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be playing the NFL. This is how I'm going to get there. No guarantee, no guarantees that I'm going to make it, but I'm guaranteeing you that I'm going to make it. That's basically what I wrote every single paper about, was me getting there. So I manifested the whole entire thing basically since 8th grade. And, it's been just a dream come true. So I really noticed that I had the abilities when I was in high school.
We were talking earlier, and I was Brian Hoyer comes here and does some stuff with us, and I was asking him. He told me he had you on as a guest the other day. And I said, Brian, let me ask you a question. Go back to the Pittsburgh game his rookie year. Was that Gronk's coming out party? He goes, that's a pretty good one. I mean, it was Sunday Night Football, right? 3 touchdowns. And, I mean, I think people saw that, who covered the team or who was around the team, watched the team, knew that there was something. Did you feel like that night, like, I'm sort of putting the league on notice here? You're not saying that, I'm saying that, but watch out.
You know, that's a good point. It definitely was my coming out party to everyone that was a fan of the New England Patriots. But I can tell you this, the game before, which was my worst game of my career with the New England Patriots, that was my true coming out party. And I'll explain why. That was the first game that I truly was in the game plan every single play. And I was a big part of the game plan. And I absolutely dominated in the blocking scheme of that game. And I had a lot of great plays as well in the pass game. I think I had about 6 catches for about 80 yards as just a rookie. This was the game right before the Pittsburgh Steelers game. But here's the thing. I had a fumble on our own 2-yard line. I caught a little hook route, 5 yards, and then I saw the end zone about 4 more yards ahead of me. So I just tried, barreling through about 4 players. And let me tell you, it didn't work out, and they hit the ball out of my hand, and I fumbled it. And then I also had a fumble on the kickoff return. I was the wingman. I went to fair catch it. Sammy Morris was in the back, and then he thought I was going to fair catch it. So then he let it go. I let it go, and then it hit the ground, and the Cleveland Browns, picked up that fumble recovery right there on the kickoff return. So therefore, I was the reason for 2 turnovers. So when you're the reason for 2 turnovers,
Monday must have sucked.
Nothing else that you did in that game mattered, no matter how good you played. But let me tell you, besides those 2 turnovers, having that fumble on our going into the end zone on the 2-yard line and that fumble on the kickoff return, I had one of my best games as a rookie, but it was so overshadowed. So that's why I truly believe that was my breakout game. And also,
really
I learned a lot as well because of those situations and because of those 2 plays. And therefore, I had the confidence actually going into the Pittsburgh game because I knew I played so well. It's just that I had those 2 mistakes.
Yep.
And I swear that's what led to the 3 touchdowns because I knew I could go out there and ball because of that Cleveland game. I just had to clean it up a little bit.
Matt, Cleveland game, you know what that was? Game with name, right? That was the Peyton Hillis game.
Yes, it was.
Oh, that's right.
That was
Me
the
and Gene.
Peyton Hillis game.
Was that me and Gene?
Yeah.
I think Colt
Brian
McCoy was a
Dable.
rookie quarterback.
Yep.
And it was like the first time Tom
Yep.
lost to a rookie
Colt
quarterback
McCoy.
in a
Yeah,
long time.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
it was one of our 2 losses that year, actually. I think we ended up 14-2. We
Yes.
lost to the Browns. Yep.
That is accurate. I wanted to, like, getting back to that rookie year, you come in, Billy O is there, and, you and Aaron are both a huge part right away of the offense. There's 2 tight end stuff, and eventually Billy O starts that really up-tempo. I think that was 11, right? 2011, that up-tempo, really high-powered offense, fast tempo. What was it like to play in that scheme? It looked like you guys just couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, that scheme was called NASCAR.
NASCAR.
And it actually makes sense, NASCAR, because
Yeah.
you're going so
I knew
fast.
there was a name for it, but I'm getting old.
I know. Hey, that happens to me all the time. And actually, I was talking to Julian Edelman, and he brought up NASCAR, and that's why I know that the term name is NASCAR, because he just brought it up to me a couple days ago. So now it's fresh in my mind, or else I would have been sitting here like, what's the what's it called when you go really fast again? It's not the
Turbo, NASCAR.
2-minute drill, but it's not the 2-minute
Right.
drill because we're 10 minutes into the second quarter. But it's NASCAR, and it makes total sense why it's called NASCAR. And you had all just one-word terms to know where you lined up, and you hurried up to the line of scrimmage, and you go. But what made it work is because all the players were on the same page. And when you have a guy like Tom Brady who's so efficient and so on top of it, he can manage, he can manage everyone on the field to where they need to be in such a short period of time. So then it's an advantage on the offensive side of the ball because the defense is still trying to get lined up and wonder where everyone is and who has who's covering who. So it kind of, dismantled the defense in a way, and then you take advantage of that and you just hit the open guy really quick. But NASCAR could have definitely not happened our rookie year, especially with the players that we had, myself, Aaron as well, and a couple other guys that were young, because we're still learning the ins and outs of the NFL. I was still struggling with the playbook, and that's actually why I truly didn't really play all the plays my rookie year. Like the first 8 games, I played like 20 plays only because those were the only 20 plays that they trusted in me that I knew, and all the other ones I was kind of messing up on. So if you don't have the trust of your teammates and coaches, they're not going to play you no matter how good you are. So the playbook was, a high difficulty skill. There's no doubt about that, especially for myself. So going into our second year is kind of when NASCAR got introduced. And that's when you kind of understand the playbook a lot better, and then you can handle the terms where just one word means the whole entire play, because then you understand the whole entire play already. Now you can handle just the one word and you know what to do. So when we put that in and implemented it, it was such an advantage, and we absolutely dominated teams because of it.
You talk about trust. How did you earn Tom's trust, Rob? There's a 8-9 year difference between you guys. He's smart enough to go, holy smokes, this kid catch radius. Look at what he can do. This guy's going to be able to help me.
Yeah.
But the way that you earn the trust and your combination together, you're talking about one of the best quarterback receiver combinations, whether you're tight or whatever, in the history of the league. That just doesn't happen by chance. What went into that relationship where you became such a valued, like he knew we were going to be all the time. You knew the communication, whatever. It was something special that people haven't really seen a lot of.
It was a really, really special connection. Might possibly be one of the best connections of all time. Possibly one of the best quarterback tight end connections of all time. And not just that, just ball passer to ball receiver.
Yep.
Just the aspect of the whole entire game. Not just one position, quarterback to a wide receiver, but just overall, just as a whole, it could have been one of the best connections. It's up there. I believe it's up there too. I mean, we've done some incredible things, but we had actually, you said 8 to 9 year age difference. It's actually a 12-year age difference.
Yeah.
I was 21 years old. He was 33 years old. I was still supposed to be a senior in college. He was just married, kids. I mean, we had 2 totally different lifestyles.
Yeah.
The age gap, was tremendous as well. So, but the thing is that we both wanted to be great. Obviously, we all knew Tom wanted to be great already, but as a rookie, I wanted to be great as well. And what got us on the same page, what built that chemistry, was the work that we put out on the practice field. And it wasn't just the practice field either, during the practice time. It was after practice as well. And I was just reminiscing with Brian Hoyer actually about it on his podcast the other day, is that Brian Hoyer and Tom would stay after practice my rookie season. It would just be myself. And I would be running an extra 15 to 20 different routes every single practice after practice, just so I can get on the same page as Tom and the quarterbacks, because they saw greatness in me. And when you see greatness in a player, Tom wanted to exploit that greatness and bring it out, and so that player could be as great as they possibly could be. And as a rookie, sometimes I didn't understand that. It's like, I just want to go home. I got to go out. I gotta go to this restaurant, meet this girl, meet this friend, meet my brother, meet my family, or whatever.
So he's got to be not busting your balls, but like, dude, I know you're 21, 22, 23. You've got greatness in you. You better get your ass in here tomorrow and get your head straight, because I'm counting on you and we're counting on you. Those words must have, like that. That's serious.
Yes, definitely serious. And that's basically is what happened. It was said in those terms, not exactly like that, but definitely in those terms. And, we built that throughout time. It wasn't like, hey, just one night, Brady the Gronk, they're on fire. That connection is unstoppable. It was built over a year. That trust was built over a year of practice and hard work, and it really built going into my second year. Yeah, we had some great times my rookie year. Those three touchdown game. In the playoffs, I had a couple catches as well. The game that we lost actually versus the Jets, which stunk. That was a bad exit my rookie year out of the playoffs, but. It happens, but there's a couple other times end of my rookie season too where, he just didn't trust me yet either. I was on fire the week before, but as a rookie, then the next week would show up and I would be just totally dismantled and not doing what he wanted me to do.
Consistency.
The consistency. You're right. It was not there. And then going into my second year, everything was clicking a lot better. You get a little break from the game of football because you have the off season. You come back and just everything was firing. I totally understood what he wanted out of me. I totally understood what the coaches wanted out of me. And I totally understood where I wanted to go to. And I knew what I had to do to get to that level I wanted to be at. And boom, from there on out, going into my second season, all that hard work, though, that we did my rookie year finally paid off, and it all started clicking. It made so much sense why we were running all those extra routes, why he wanted me where he wanted me out on the field, because that's where he wanted to place the ball away from the defender, all that little detail and all that good stuff. So it took a good solid year to have that chemistry, and then from year on out, you just get smarter. You just build upon it, and build upon it. But that chemistry would always be there from there on out.
So a pretty magical season, though. That 2011 year, you guys, you obviously make the run. You get all the way to the Super Bowl. You talked about the Earl Thomas hit, that hurt your back. You get a Bernard Pollard hit in that AFC Championship game. How much did that? I mean, we all know you weren't yourself in the Super Bowl. How much did that impact you?
Yeah, that actually was rough. That kind of sucked, to tell you the truth. It actually gave a bad taste in my mouth for what a Super Bowl experience should be like. Everyone talks about, what was it like going to a Super Bowl? Well, it kind of blew because I was dealing with basically a broken ankle, a very high sprained ankle, which
is worse than a break, probably, isn't it?
Basically, it basically is worse than a break. A break you can't possibly play on, I don't think. You would have to get the surgery or fix it right then and there. A sprain actually takes longer to heal, but you can actually keep playing on it because you really can't damage it more, but you're going to have to get it fixed like right when you're done playing on it. But it was just such a tough situation. It was the first time I was hurt. I was young, just the stress of wanting to be out there and not being able to be out there, just the preparation as well going into the game. I couldn't practice at all. I mean, I had like one little workout, and then I played in the game as well. And knowing I wasn't going to play that many games, and just the stress as well on the outside when I was 22 years old, and just all the questions that were coming in about my ankle. I didn't really know how to handle it, with my friends, with my family, tickets for the Super Bowl and everything. So it was not that great of an experience because of that ankle injury going into my first Super Bowl. And it made it tougher. But I can tell you this, I learned a lot from it, and I grew from it as a player, and I believe it helped me out going into the other Super Bowls.
How so?
Because I knew how to handle a Super Bowl situation.
Demands, meaning family, friends, tickets,
yes.
Get me to this party, get me to here or there.
Yes, and also, yes, exactly. And I blew all that off, You take care of the people that you need to truly take care of that were there for your whole entire life when you were growing up. And then also, like I said, that stress with the ankle injury as well, questions coming from your family, your friends, are you going to play, coming from just fans stepping out of the house and going somewhere. It was, and you just didn't know, and you didn't want to give an answer either, because if you gave them an answer, they could go run to the press with it, and you'd be like, oh, what the heck? And then, everything was tight-lipped here in the New England Patriots organization at that time especially. So that was putting a lot of stress on you as just a 22-year-old kid. So just going into the other Super Bowls, knew how to handle the demands, not being injured, so not dealing with that. It just made those experiences just that much better then.
Was that the best team that you played on, Rob, here with that 14 team that beat Seattle?
In my career?
Here
in New England?
Was that the best team that you played on?
I think he might think there was a
2020
Tampa team.
That's why I qualified it.
That was a very special team.
That was a hell of a game.
It was a heck of a game. It was one of the best Super Bowls
Haymakers.
of all times. No doubt about that. People are like, what was your favorite Super Bowl? I always say the first one, but it wasn't because it was just the first one, because the first one's always the sweetest,
Sure.
but it was also because it was one of the best games in Super Bowl history.
No question.
Seattle was up, we came back, they went back up, we took the lead, and they go back down with, final minute on the clock, and then Malcolm Butler has that game-sealing interception, and then we're kneeling the ball, and I'm throwing haymakers out there versus Michael Bennett, while just kneeling the ball. There's a huge brawl in the end zone, so there's just so much to it, and it's just such a great, perspective to fans, too, for a game to watch of what it's all about to play, to play the game of football. Just that game brought everything to the table, and what was great, it was such a team win. Julian had a touchdown, Brandon LaFell had a touchdown, Amendola had a touchdown, I had a touchdown, and Shane Vereen went for about 11 catches, right around there for 100-something yards, I think. But he had a big impact, even though he didn't score a touchdown, too. So just an incredible game overall. It was by far, my favorite Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But was that the best team? No. You want to believe what the best team was that I truly believe was the best one? Was the year after.
15.
Yeah, 2015. We went undefeated. We went 10-0. And then we lost a couple games.
Julian got hurt that year, didn't he?
So the 15. Yeah, I mean, this is a year that really frustrates me a little bit as a fanboy because there were so many games I thought that there were some questionable things down the stretch. I'm not going to put
Miami.
you on that spot. The way you treated the Miami game at the end with all the runs with Steven Jackson, kicking off in overtime against the Jets. All they needed was one win, and that AFC Championship game against Denver is here instead of in Denver.
I do remember that. And going into that Miami game, we said we're going to run the ball every single play, I think, until we get 5 first downs in a row or a touchdown or something. And we just kept running the ball, and we were going nowhere with it. It was 3rd and 10. Run the ball, 1 more yard, punting on 4th and 9. But I do remember that game, and we lost 3 in a row. We started off unbelievably hot. I mean, 10-0. Everyone was on fire. I got hurt actually with a knee in that Denver game.
Yeah,
in the
I
snow.
thought you were out for the year in that game. You went down bad.
I did, man, but that was just a bone bruise. But let me tell you, the bone bruise hurt more than actually blowing out your ACL and MCL. Yeah. I was on the field screaming. I was like, my career's done, done with again. But good thing it was just a bone bruise. But also that game, I was in the locker room right after. We won that game. They called a holding penalty on Patrick Chung in the end zone. Brock Osweiler was their quarterback, and he threw a pass to the end zone. And let me tell you, I was watching it from the locker room. It was not a holding penalty. And that call right there, I think it was 4th and 10 or something, and it gave them the first down, right on their own 1-yard line to go and score on the next play. But the game was over if that holding penalty was never called. And I'm telling you to this T, go bring up that play. Patrick Chung did not hold. And I remember that play clear as day. So we would have been 11-0, still hot, and then we lost to Philadelphia because, once you lose one game, it trickles down, you lose another. And we lost to Philly that year, who was terrible as well.
Yep.
I was out that game. Then we lost a couple others at the end.
4 of
Didn't
the
have
last
home
6.
field advantage.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 of the last 6.
Yeah, and so I want to get
What's your
to
favorite play in that 15?
So yeah, that 15 AFC Championship game to me is one of the most ridiculous performances by you and Tom. Just because of how good that defense was, and especially that day. Von Miller was the best defensive player on the planet that day. He dominated up front, but you guys just keep hanging around. It's 4th and 10, and you guys, connect. Tom just says, go down the seam and make a play. Do you remember this catch that I'm talking about? Because for me, I know you made some circus catches that were incredible, but to me, I think it was T.J. Ward hanging on you, who you had a little history with as well. Just take me through that play. That catch was amazing.
I remember.
I feel like Chris Fry. Yeah, that was awesome, wasn't it?
It was amazing. It was 4th and 10, and our season was on the line.
Yeah,
I remember that play to the exact T. And from what I recall, actually, what was called in the huddle was a screen pass to the left. And Brady switched the play right away. And he called all goes. And I was like, yeah, that's right. All goes. I'm ready to go, baby. I'm on fire right now. I'm not ending the season like this. We're going to get this first down. And I'm just going to take off. And when I'm taking off, Brady can read that. This guy's got a mind of his own. Like, he can tell if a player is rolling down the field or not. He knows when a player is going full speed, and that's who he always goes to. Like, he can read the decisiveness of a wide receiver or a tight end or a running back to the T, and that's how he always knew what guy to go to. And he always knew who was on fire at the moment and who wasn't, and he could tell in my eyes right when we broke that huddle. I was like, oh, you better just toss this ball up. I was like, I don't care who's in front of me. And right when that thing was hiked, boom, I just took off. And they had that safety. He was all pro, actually. I was double coverage. I had a linebacker right to my, actually a safety to my left and the other safety right to my right. And I just split them and went right through him, right down the middle, right up the seam. And Brady just launched that ball up. I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm going to go grab this thing, and we're going to continue this drive. And our season is not ending right now. And I just went up there. Brady put the ball right on the money. I just put my hands out, brought it in, got hit right both ways, on my right and my left, right at the same time, and brought it in, man. And let me tell you, I was out of breath. I was like, woo! I knew our season wasn't going to end, but I was like, oh, help me up, because I can't breathe right now. And then I kind of took off like the next 3 plays. Like I kind of just chipped the
Well, you
D
came
end.
back in to score the touchdown.
Well, I was in on the plays, but I kind of took off. I just kind of lackadaisical through it. You know, just because I was so winded from that play and being up, you know, at the mile high. And also, I was sick for that game. I swear I had food poisoning, man. I was basically throwing up on the sideline. It was brutal. But, hey, I always come through in the clutch. And when the season's on the line, you always throw that ball up to Robbie G, baby. And then I had that 2-point conversion as well that I was double covered on. And I kind of jumped over the guys and, controlled my body to go and make the catch. And Tom just threw it up there again. It was 4th and 2. And actually, no, it was a 2-point conversion. No, it was a touchdown.
It was the touchdown.
It was a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was 4th down. It was 4th and goal.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to bring up the 2-point
plays.
conversion because they didn't throw it.
Yeah,
to
we're
you.
not talking about the 2-point conversion. I was open, though.
A couple other games, Rob. 14, the Jonas Gray game.
Oh.
You, you had an unbelievable touchdown where it seems like you literally ran through every member of the Colts. But we're talking about the play where you threw Sergio. You threw Sergio out of the club.
Yeah.
That's what everybody remembers about that game.
Yes, they do.
That's a real tight end.
Yeah, that's a real tight
no
end play right
disrespect
there.
to some of these other guys who are pass catchers, but you're a blocking guy too.
I am
in the
a
dirt,
blocking
and
guy.
you're going to block your ass off.
Yes.
And you blocked your ass off on that play.
That's for sure. I had a lot of pride in my blocking, man. I love blocking. I truly believe that, it helped me, in the passing game as well. It helped me get open in the play action. And it just, I just always felt and believed in as a tight end just when I started playing the position that you had to do both, man. That's what it's all about, doing the dirty work and then also going out there and making plays as well in the passing game. But on that play, Sergio Brown came in with me here with the New England Patriots.
Yep.
He was a free agent that year out of Notre Dame, and he was a great player. He was a safety here. He was a great special teamer. And then he went over to the Colts, and he did great things for us while he was here with the Patriots. But that game, man, he just wouldn't stop talking, man. He just wouldn't stop, trying to get under my skin. And let me tell you, he eventually got under my skin. And when you get under my skin talking garbage, it's not going to be good for you on that defensive side of the ball. And that's what happened. And finally, I just ticked. I was like a ticking time bomb the whole game. He just kept going off and off, talking garbage, and then finally, he just, boom, he hit it. He hit that switch. And then I noticed that play, like, all right, one-on-one right here. I'm going to drive your butt all the way until I can't drive you anymore until you get planted, into the ground. And that's basically what happened, man. That's why after the game, I was sitting there with Chris Collinsworth. I was like, hey, Chris Collinsworth, he was just yapping too much. I had to throw him out of the club.
A great line.
So a lot of great catches. There was another one in a Denver game at home. Is there a catch, one particular catch that stands out among the rest for you?
It was in 14 as well here against Denver. Tom throws that up and he goes, how did you up and catch that ball?
I kind of made Tom's career, if you really think about it. Same with Julian, same with Moss. Tom should be, thanking us by sending us a gift every single year. Like a 4-wheeler for Christmas would be much appreciated. Ooh. For all those,
He goes into Canton. I'm sure you're going to get thanked.
I know. I'm just messing around, but I wouldn't be here without Tom. And but yeah, I would say one of my favorite catches was versus the Buffalo Bills. And to tell you the truth, the catch happened because Tom put the ball. He placed the ball where only I could go and make the play because I was kind of covered. I was going versus their all-pro safety, Man, names, man. When you're out of the league for a little bit, you got to look back. You can't get the names right on the spot. I mean, that's not good, but there's so many memories and so many players that's hard. But I was going versus all-pro safety. I was spread out wide, one-on-one. It was right here in Gillette Stadium, this corner right there, the opposite corner, left side of the lighthouse.
Yep.
And he threw it up there, and I was on the 2-yard line. I just reached back like that. It was a one-hander versus my hometown Buffalo Bills. And I
Vaguely remember it.
And just brought it in. Didn't even use my second hand. Brought it in. Toe tapped into the end zone and then fell. So it was a one-handed grab, baby. It was a beauty. It was one of my favorite catches.
We're going to wrap this up here in a second, but I got to ask you this one. You talked about Super Bowl 14, how much it meant to you and everything like that. The Kansas City game. It wasn't a Super Bowl. It got you to the Super Bowl. That was your last year.
Mm-hmm.
How great. Was that kind of like the last call? For Rob Gronkowski's part, you know, in that Kansas City game, in the cold, you know that team's on the come. Here they come and everything like that. That was a game. I don't want to put words in your mouth. How great was that game? That
was one of the greatest AFC Championship games you could ever imagine or ever be at. It was probably the greatest AFC Championship game, which was wild. I was actually hanging out with my nephews about 4 weeks ago, and they're starting to get to the age where they understand things now. They understand, you know, that I played in the NFL, that I'm on YouTube and everything. And I was just sitting there, and my little nephew, he goes and puts YouTube on, and he types in my name, and he puts the last 5 minutes on of the AFC Championship game in 2018, it was, correct?
Yep.
Versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and we watched the last 4 minutes of the game. And that was the first time I've actually seen the game.
Wow.
And let me tell you, I was getting goosebumps again, man. I was getting excited. I couldn't believe what was going on in that game. How many touchdowns were scored in the final 4 minutes? We went down, we scored, they came back, they scored. We went back down and scored a touchdown to take the lead. And then with 30 seconds left, Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things. He threw a big deep pass, got him in field goal position, and they kicked a field goal with the final seconds left in regulation to put us into overtime. It was one of the most exciting 4 minutes I've ever watched. And I played in the game, and I knew what was going to happen, and it was still that exciting. And what made it so great was that we had so many 3rd and 10s and 4th and 10s. We weren't moving the ball on those final drives on the first down or second down, but we completed the 3rd down every single time. And Julian Edelman balled out. It was Julian Edelman over the middle, 3rd and 10. Julian Edelman over the middle, 3rd and 10. Then I'm spreading out wide,
Slant.
4th and 10. Slant for a first down, and then a fade for a first down. And then Rex Burkhead runs in for the overtime touchdown as well. So it was just one of the best 4 minutes of football that you could ever watch was that AFC Championship game, man. What an incredible, moment. And to win on the road for the first time to get to the Super Bowl just made the Patriots dynasty that much greater, man.
Appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. You'll be here at some point in time sooner rather than later to get a red jacket. You're going to get a gold jacket in Canton whenever your time comes for there. It was a pleasure to watch your career and see how great you were and how you made this team great. Thank you so much.
Tremendous.
Yes, I appreciate
Rob.
that, guys. Thank you guys for having me. This is really cool, man, to be here and just to be back in the building and see some of the guys, man. It's bringing back so many great memories, man, and it's juicing me back up, and I like it, man. This is really cool. So thank you guys for inviting me in. And go check out at the Patriots Hall of Fame if you can Gronk spike harder than Gronk can spike, because the velocity was tested, and there's a machine that gives you the wavelengths of how hard you can spike, and if you can compare it, you can compare it to my velocity and how hard I can spike. So go check it out, and it's just great to be back, man. This is a pleasure. So you guys are the best.
Good plug.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Rob.
No problem.